very good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another adventure down in Haigh Woodland Park this morning for some misty woodland photography. Hoping to get some ethereal and atmospheric shots. Having checked the weather forecast last night, there was a high propensity for mist, and thought this is an opportunity I can't miss. So yeah, I've come down here this morning to join me on the adventure, and let's see what we can capture. I'd also like to talk about the photographer's eye for detail, and maybe do that a little bit later on as well. But yeah, let's crack on and see what we can capture. So I like this spot here, just on top of the knoll, where we've got a little bit of elevation, we've got some height. We can look into the trees, look at the characters, look at the gnarly nature of some of the twisted branches and twigs. And for this first composition, I'll show you in camera, but we have this lovely chap center of the image with the gnarly branches hanging out to the outside, full of the early autumn greens, and as I say, that mist and a few raindrops actually just dripping off the leaves from last night's rain. So we've got the tree dead center. I'm at ISO 100 f11, and this is a 10-second exposure. So we'll take that image. It's a lovely little character tree, this. Like I say, with his arms outstretched, very much like a dancer. Oh, lovely. I like that. So I said this knoll acts as a great spot because we've got that height and elevation to shoot into the woodlands, and I've literally just turned the camera through 90 degrees. I'm shooting a lovely little character who's emerging from the undergrowth, surrounded by a lot of the green leaves and the foliage. And again, I like this chap because of the character of the waving branches, the gnarly branches. We've got a good degree of mist there, providing separation from the background. Just doing some edge patrol here. The foliage is providing a lovely frame to this image, with the trunk of the tree right in the center of the screen. I'm at f8, 4 seconds, ISO 100. I've got the 24 to 70 lens on. I'm zoomed in right at 70 mil. As I say, this is a 4-second exposure. Let's have a look at that. Here we go. Oh, it's a little bit overexposed, that. Just dial that down. 2.5 seconds. Well, that's quite nice. On the back of the screen it looks good. Just do 2 seconds. Just show you in camera first. So here's the in-camera shot. As you can see, center screen, the gnarly branches, the green foliage acting as a frame. Turn that off. Take that again at 1.6 seconds and see what this chap looks like. Oh yeah, the mist is gorgeous. Okay, that's a couple of shots in the bag. Gets the old juices flowing, gets the confidence going. I think we'll go for a wander now. So I mentioned earlier in the film that we'd be having a chat a bit later about having an eye for detail, and as landscape photographers, we're constantly studying the landscape, looking at our surroundings, hunting for compositions and seeking out that detail. And that's no better borne out than from this spot where I'm stood now. I was watching a ITV dramatisation called The Passenger. I'll put you some footage up on the screen now. And as you can see, this was filmed from this exact location from where I'm stood now, and I instantly recognised it. I've been down to these woodlands quite a few times and always got my eyes wide open for compositions and looking for that detail in the landscape. And for me it was this tree here and this rectangular footprint marking out the Wigan way that gave it away, as well as the sweeping curve and just the nature of the trees that were in shot. So yeah, I think it just goes to show how much we do actually study the landscape when we're out and about, when we're walking, when we're scouting out locations, when we're doing our photography. And I do have another example of this as well. So I think it's a couple of years ago now, I did a film from Brighton where I was shooting the Black Windmill, and again there's a ITV dramatisation which is called Grace. I think it's based on the Peter James books, D.I. Grace, all based down in Brighton, and this was from one of the episodes. I'll show you that footage now. And I saw the couple, so Grace is played by John Sim, so John Sim's walking along here with his partner, and they're walking along a footpath, and I looked at this scene and I said to my wife, I said, I recognise that, I know exactly where that is. I said, any second now, I said, this shot's going to pan to a black windmill. And sure enough, as you can see again, hopefully from the footage if I can find it, there was the black windmill. And I think for me that was epitomised by the hour or so that I had getting very intimate with the grasses, flora and fauna in that particular spot whilst I was taking the image of the windmill. So yeah, just goes to show how much we do pay attention to our surroundings, the landscape, and how we can recognise them when we see them on TV shows. Anyway, enough of that, back to the photography. I'm going to take a wander up this way and see what we can capture. So I've just been wandering through some of the tracks and trails up here in Haigh Woodland Park, looking for a bit of open space, a bit of open ground where I can find a nice scene. And I've come across this area here. There's some lovely beech trees. We've got the little rhododendron here and some fallen scattered logs, and of course we've got the mist lingering in the trees, which is absolutely beautiful. So for this shot I am at f16 focused, a third of the way into the image on one of these fallen tree stumps, ISO 100, and it is still quite dark in the under the canopy. So this is 2.5 seconds. I think this makes for quite a nice scene, but as always we'll find out when we get it back onto the computer. So just exploring this little expanse of open ground here in the woodland, and after that last shot I've turned around through 180 degrees and spotted this sycamore, which is the only species of tree that is beginning to show some autumnal colours at the moment. As you can see, the beech is still very, very green. and I like the contrast of the yellow orange auburn leaves on the sycamore against the greens on the beach. So I've got this composition set up. I'm at f11 focused on the tree trunk itself, ISO 100, 1.3 seconds. Take that image and we'll see what that one looks like. So unfortunately I lost the audio to this last clip, but here I was just explaining that I had enjoyed a good wander around the tracks and trails in the woodlands, where I found some characterful and shapely trees, saw some beautiful colour in the woods, spotted a lovely old arched bridge, and had a short wander along the canal towpath, but all to no avail when trying to compose an image. I finally came across this hidden clearing, which for me characterises and embodies the soul of Haigh Woodland Park, with the path of orange and auburn fallen leaves interspersed with green vegetation along the woodland floor, creating an aisle amid the tall tree trunk soldiers, all bathed in the ethereal mist and soft light. For this last image I was shooting at 32mm with settings of ISO 100, f11 and a 2-second exposure. So thanks very much for watching. Apologies for the loss of audio at the end. I hope you have enjoyed the wander around Haigh Woodland Park, my observations about having an eye for detail in the images from this week's adventure. So until next time, thanks again for watching. Take care, stay safe, and see you on the next adventure. Goodbye.